Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Selamat petang. Thank you for staying awake after a long day. Kindly bear with me. I'm just given 10 minutes to share 20 slides. Okay, I don't have an action-packed slides like my god brother Michael Bay, the director of Transformers. Well, I have nothing to disclose actually. So, Clavipectoral Fascia Plane Block is actually relatively new block, regional block for clavicle surgery. And in comparison with other established regional block for clavicle surgery, such as the cervical plexus block, whether it is a superficial or intermediate and or interscalene block, this clavipectoral fascia plane block can also provide effective analgesia and relatively easy to perform. And the selling point here is that there is no direct needle contact with the neural structure. It's a fascia plane block. That means LA deposits around the fascia plane, around the clavicle. So another selling point is that there's no because of that, no motor block effect of the upper limb, like what we have if we use interscalene block. And also, we can avoid any potential respiratory compromise from the symptomatic phrenic nerve palsy or recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy from the deep cervical plexus block. This block was first described by Dr. Luis Valdez at the ASTRA Congress in Lugano in 2017. And Dr. Valdez and his group of friends later on, in 2 years later, namely Dr. Vincent Rock, Dr. Hisham El-Sharakawi, they published the first case report of ultrasound-guided clavipectoral fascial plane block in the Journal of Clinical Anaesthesia. And in the same year, Dr. Vincent Rock and Dr. Valdez created a video and they presented at ASTRA meeting. And I'm sure some of you have seen their videos in the YouTube. Dr. Vincent Rock have been producing a lot of nice regional educational video. You can just check it out, okay? So a brief information. Last year, Barry and I and Dr. Shah and Dr. Lim Jui An plus a few colleagues from Singapore, we published a scoping review of the regional anesthetic and analgesic techniques for the clavicle fractures and clavicle surgeries. In this scoping review, we included 5 RCTs, 5 prospective observational studies, 5 retrospective observational studies, plus 29 case reports with a total patients of 3,161 patients. And our summary is that intermediate cervical plexus block is currently the preferred regional block of choice for clavicle surgery. There are multiple studies that have shown the combined technique of interscalene block plus intermediate cervical plexus block is a reliable choice of surgical anesthesia. But based on all these studies, the existing study, the undesirable effect of the interscalene block for upper limb, the motor block, plus a phrenic nerve paralysis may preclude routine use and may be not suitable for a certain patient group. So what about the clavipectoral fascial plane block? And the evidences are growing very slowly, although it's published in 2019. Compared to ESP PACS, they grow with multiple thousands of publications by today. So, but until today, there are only 7 case series with recently 1 RCT was published by the Chinese group in the Anaesthesia Analgesia. For example, for this RCT, it involved 40 patients randomized to 2 groups. One group had ultrasound-guided 0.375% ropivacaine, which 5 ml was injected at the intermediate cervical plexus block and 20 ml interscalene, compared with another group which is 5 ml intermediate cervical plexus block and 20 ml clavipectoral fascial plane block. I wouldn't read about the results, just quick conclusion. And the group concluded that ultrasound-guided clavipectoral fascial plane block with intermediate cervical plexus block could significantly reduce hemidiaphragmatic paralysis and provide an adequate surgical anesthesia with fewer complications such as motor block in the upper extremity during the mid-shaft clavicle surgery. Here is a quick salient point of the clavicle fracture. We know that most of the clavicle fracture happen at the mid-shaft, which is the weakest point from the trauma impact. And ORIF is actually are commonly performed, and patient usually will be positioned in supine or in the modified big chair position. And surgeons usually use either length cut at the longest line, or sometimes some of them use a necklace line incision. But in the indications for surgical fixation for clavicle fracture is open fractures, neurovascular compromise, severe angulation or displacement with the risk of cutaneous perforation, or symptomatic non-union. Applied anatomy. Clavicle itself is actually has a very complicated innervation system. There have been, the periosteum receives a rich sensory innervation from motor, articular, cutaneous nerve branches and nerve around the nutrient arteries. And the main nerve is actually supraclavicular nerve, but some say they are axillary components, supraclavicular, spinal accessory nerve, and so on and so forth. This is subject of debates. And basically, there are not many studies about this clavicle innervation. But what we know is that supraclavicular nerve is the most important relevant nerve in the innervation of the clavicle region, and it provides a sensory innervation to the skin overlying the clavicle. And because of this, it is difficult for any single block to completely anesthetize the entire clavicle region. But last year, 2 years ago, Dr. Tran Di Quan Hoai from Canada with his regional fellows from Thais, they just did a cadaveric investigation study of the innervation of clavicle. And it was performed on 20 cadavers, 40 clavicles. Based on these studies, they found out that supraclavicular nerves innervate the whole, the capsular and ventral aspect of the clavicular bone. Whereas subclavian nerve innervate the caudal and dorsal aspect of the clavicle, that means middle and medial third. Whereas lateral pectoral nerve, you supply the caudal aspect of the clavicle, which is middle and lateral third. The SC joint is innervated to supraclavicular nerves, whereas the AC joint was innervated by supraclavicular and lateral pectoral nerves. Clavipectoral fascia is actually a sheet of membrane filling the space between clavicle and pes minor. Laterally, it's actually limited by the coracoid process. Medially, is inserted to the external intercostal membrane of the upper two intercostal space. It splits and encloses the subclavius. After that, encircle the clavicle. Above the clavicle, it continues as a part of the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. And I just want to show this another diagram of showing how it is. This is a clavipectoral fascia, and splits. After that, encircle the clavicle, and it continues as an investing layer. As what you can see here, the nerves that are responsible for the sensory innervation of the clavicle reach this clavicle by penetrating the clavipectoral fascia. And the two important nerves highlighted here is that this is a supraclavicular nerve, the other one is lateral pectoral nerve. Another 3D animation for you to have a better image. You see, this is the supraclavicular nerve that innervates the clavicle. This is subclavius muscle, and this is subclavian nerve. And this one is lateral pectoral nerve. So in clavipectoral fascia plane block, patient will be lying supine with the head turned contralateral side. This is a superficial block. That means we usually use the linear probe with a short needle, enough already. So according to Dr. Luis Valdez, this is the original description. So the transducer will place at each side of the fracture site, medial or lateral. So needling is in-plane technique, caudal to capsular, each LA volume about 10 to 15 at each side. So the target point is actually to open up between periosteum and the clavipectoral fascia. So thereafter, there are a lot of variation in technical description by several authors in the publication, which we will see later. This is a diagram of how they produce a video. In this video, the difference is that they did a supraclavicular nerve block first. Okay. We straight go to video clip, easier. Okay, this is a moment of silence. This is 1 minute just for you to have a look how they do the block by Dr. Vincent Rock. So in-plane technique, needle injection, caudal to cranial. So the endpoint is to separate the periosteum from the fascia, and the LA deposit is about 10 to 15 mil. And we do it on two sides, medial and then lateral of the fracture side. Okay, we move on. Well, according to the compilation of our case series and case reports, I said after Dr. Luis Valdez published, there are a few other co-authors also published. For example, Atale, they combined with superficial cervical plexus block. And then they only did single injection. As you can see, no pain until 24 hours. What I want to show you, see, Kukuja, the endpoint is that they inject more inferior, inferior of the clavicle. Okay? So the next group also is the same. These are all the pictures from the case report. So based on all the information now, what is the current recommendation? Firstly, should cervical plexus block combine with superficial or intermediate cervical plexus block or supraclavicular nail block? The answer is yes. If regional block is for surgical anesthesia, it should be performed first. Because clavipectoral fascia block does not reliably provide adequate coverage for the skin incision during clavicle surgery. Although double injection with high LA volume may overcome the inadequacy. But without cervical plexus block, you want to put a probe on the fractured clavicle is very uncomfortable actually. Okay? No matter how gentle you want. And secondly, should we perform a single or double injection during clavipectoral? But all depends on sonor anatomy and adequacy of the LA spread during needle injection. High volume single injection may suffice. For example, when I first started doing clavipectoral fascia block, I did single injection, patient was under GA. Everything was fine until surgeon need to extend during the plating, they need to extend to more laterally. Suddenly heart rate went up. So I had to give a supplemental, a bit of fentanyl, 1 milligram of morphine, but at the end of the surgery, I supplemented with a landmark technique of a superficial cervical plexus, and patient will remain pain score 0. So I realized that because once clavicle is fractured, the fascial plane may be interrupted. It's rather to do a double injection actually. But I said, if you see the case report that you have, is the endpoint easily demonstrated? It's very inconsistent. Sometimes the fascial plane is so thin that it's very hard to open, especially in the younger patients. That's what I found. Okay. Secondly, what is the possible role of a clavipectoral fascia block for clavicle surgery? I will still say that combined intermediate cervical plexus block and interscaling is still the gold standard. Okay, clavipectoral fascia block can be considered if there is a pre-existing neurovascular deficit from the clavicle fracture or high risk of respiratory compromise. Lastly, I have 2 patients. One is with a GA with a gold standard block. Pain score 0 throughout, post-op until discharge. Another patient is the same also, pain score 0. Operation at 7 p.m., the next morning 8 a.m. went home. Thank you for your kind attention.